Hi Karen, so I've looked over your lesson plan and here's my feedback. I really like this. I think this is well done. You chose a high interest topic. You got them like focused in your direction first by just allowing them to talk about it, think about it, write about it, and then you moved from that into the direct instruction and modeling. And I think that's a really good model. There's just one tweak I would add to this. Let me show you where it is. Okay. So evidence outcomes, your students will be able to, everything looks great, all right? So context or hook, wonderful, I love it, okay? This brief instructional, direct instruction piece, like, write down what you think, love it, okay? All right, when you get on to writing out your, where is it? Right here, okay? So yeah, these are the three main components to Toolman, all right? Claim, data, warrant. But here's the one tweak I'm going to add, okay? Students, especially in high school, tend to form an opinion and then go and research to grab data to support their opinion. And during their research, they just discount anything they see that doesn't agree with them, right? And so they're not really researching, they're just searching. So when you write out Toolman, when you teach Toolman, when you write out claim, data, warrant, everything, remember that model we did on the board. Actually, the first thing we want is data. Second thing, claim. Third thing, warrant. And that's because from a well thought through piece of information, even if it's something I came up with on my own, but it indicates well thought through. From that, I draw my claim, right? Let me show you. So when you go into, hold on, I'm looking for the data. It's in here. Okay, right. So when you go into this stuff called data, right? You look at this stuff, right? Data supports your claim and your argument by providing your audience, proving to your audience that your claim is accurate, and then you go into here. Right, here's the three examples of data, right? The reindeer in Frozen is really cute. I once read on Disney Online that the movie took 5 whole years to make, so they did in fact spend a lot of time on the movie. Frozen is dumb, etc., okay? So if you started with those, right, or even if you grab some from the students, like, for those of you who said that you liked this movie, tell me why, right? So that way you're getting them into this habit of thinking through their support before they make their argument, okay? It's a tiny bit tricky, I don't know if tricky is the right word, with the example that you're using because it is sort of, because what they're going to tend to do is spout opinion, whereas you're looking to morph them from opinion to claim, which is good, don't get me wrong. But it'll be a tiny bit tricky. But the thing I worry about is if you teach Toolman as claim, data, warrant, that henceforth they're going to do claim, data, warrant, and that they're not actually going to get this research component in there. Such that it's like Toolman is for well thought through arguments and claims, not for spouting opinion. So right, maybe just moving those pieces around so that you're doing this piece and then you're doing claim might help, okay? Other than that, man, your direct instruction is great. I love that you created this model for them. Watch out, because if you have to do a ton of writing on the board, that may really derail your classroom management, right? Because if your back is turned and you're writing all this stuff on the board for them and they're just sitting there while you're writing, your naughty kids are going to go off task. So it would be great if, like, you could project your computer screen on the board so you could just type it really quick. Even writing on a piece of paper on the Elmo is a little quicker than being on the board. Or what if you just, since you knew you were going to be doing this anyways, what if you just had all these different components typed out, right? And you could just show them and just say, guys, for the sake of time, like, I kind of pre-thought about this, and so here's what I wrote, or something kind of like that. I just worry about the classroom management problem when you do a ton of writing on the board. Which, don't get me wrong, Karen, that's like tiniest little tweak. I think that this lesson plan is amazing. So I like how you come back, so you have them come back to their original piece of writing, and you do a really nice job at not just closing the class, but at closing the entire lesson too, like the reason you were doing it. So really nicely done, Karen. I like it.